is go and get your remote. And is everything turned on?
Now it is.
Okay. And the collar's on already?
Yep. Should I tighten it a little more?
Yeah, let's tighten a notch, and I'm gonna have you hit the vibrate function because I don't think that collar is on. Ladies wearing a face shield.
What level should I have it on?
Start at 10. And go ahead and if I tell you like go to 15, you end up on 16, 17,
it's fine.
no big deal. You just don't want to be up like at 25 or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have you grab the box around the e-collar box, and you're gonna hit the pager function, which is the one on the front. Do you feel it vibrate?
No.
Okay, so your collar is not on. So go ahead and take.
Take it off?
No, you're fine. If you flip your remote around,
Ollie, come here. Okay.
you'll see a red dot.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on the top of your collar here, you'll see a red dot as well.
Yeah.
All you need to do is just touch those two things together.
Okay.
Yep, you're good.
That's it?
Yeah, and then just to show you, go ahead and grab the box again.
And then hit the pager?
Correct.
Yeah.
There you go, right? So if you're ever working with Ollie and you find like, you don't see the muscle contraction, you don't feel like the collar is working,
Yeah.
it's most likely because it's not on.
Okay.
So then I'll grab the box. So if you end up like at 80 when typically you're at 30,
Yeah.
you hit the vibrate function, and then nope, not on. Repair it. Maybe it died. Maybe it ran out of battery. Things like that. Okay. So go ahead. You're on 10. Now we're gonna press the bumpy one, which is the nick function.
Just press it. Not hold it.
Yeah, you're gonna just press it, and then whenever I say the word tap is when you would press the button. Okay. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at Ollie and we're gonna read the behavior. Okay. What we're looking for is a response. So there's 3 types of levels. You have your connection level, you have perception level, and then you have working level. Okay. So what that means is connection is you see the contraction, but Ollie is not phased. Okay. So you'll see like he'll be looking over here, you see this happening, but nothing is going on here. Okay. So you have the connection, but the dog's not bothered. Okay. Perception level is when you start to see very minor kind of movements, and that tells you the dog is now perceiving the collar. And then working number is just above that, and the reason why that's important is because environment doesn't matter when you have the correct working number. Okay. So let's say today ends up being 25, and then you come when it's busier, you might be at 35, 45. Okay. So you're always going to the appropriate number. Never get tied to a specific range. It's all contingent on what's going on in life, the stress levels, things like that, connection. Okay. It's always the dog's response. So now we're going to go ahead and start tapping, and I'll tell you when. So go ahead and push the button. You go tap, tap, tap. Right, so I see nothing. So then we're going to bump it. We're going to go to 15. What's the next? Tap, tap, tap. Nothing. 20. Tap, tap, tap. Nothing. 25. This is all normal.
Okay.
Yeah. Tap. 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 30. A tiny bit. Tap. 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 35. Tap. There. Tap. There. Okay. So the first one you saw a very subtle movement. The second one you saw a bigger movement. Okay. Let's give one more tap. Let's try 38. So we know we have connection.
Come here. Come back. Up. Sit.
We have connection, but I'm going to just go a little bit higher because I can see we're super close. Okay. So we're going to consider that for now our working number. Okay. I know you have previous habits from like other training and stuff. I'm going to have you forget that stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
If I ever do that, just yell at me.
It's okay. I know you have the prong.
Yeah.
I want you to just get used to not using it so much.
Okay.
We're trying to now transition you to the remote collar. Okay. The reason for that is that's ultimately what's going to give you off-leash control.
Okay.
So the reason why I try to wean people off the leash in terms of the application is the more you use it, the more habitual it is for you that if something happens, your first instinct is most likely to be go for the leash, when really it should be go to the collar. Okay. The first thing we're going to do today is we're going to work on the heel command. Okay. This is going to be the foundation for everything. Our behavioral work, how to turn pressure on and off, and all the obedience stuff. Okay. Now remind me. I remember territorial coming into the home.
Yeah.
Dog reactivity.
Yeah.
And then any human reactivity.
A little bit. Just
runners.
Depends.
Okay. Excuse me?
What was the last thing you said?
Runners, bikers.
Yeah, runners for sure. Bikers
Okay.
not really.
How'd you say? Runners, bikers.
Not as much bikers, but runners for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. So I just did a video on off leash dogs. All right. So I'm gonna coach you through everything. Now this exercise is super simple. Okay. What we're gonna do you walk Ollie on the right or left?
Usually on the right. But
Okay.
I kind of switch off.
You want to pick a side. Which one do you want to keep it at? The right? Okay. So, and you're gonna have to remind me because I usually do left. So
Okay.
if I were to start talking on the left, say he's on the right.
Okay.
So to keep Ollie on the right, what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna give slack.
Okay.
Okay. I know because of prong collar we keep it shorter.
Yeah.
But when we're doing e-collar, we need him to make the mistake to condition him
Sure.
what it means.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna be giving more slack,
Okay.
about 4 feet. And when you start walking, if Ollie's not attentive to you, he's gonna start going forward.
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna coach you through this, but then you start remoting, and you're gonna go 180 to your immediate left.
So just
Okay.
turn around.
Correct.
Okay.
Complete 180 just like this.
What do I say? Command at all?
No.
Okay.
When we teach stuff in the beginning, it's complete silence.
Okay.
Because I want you to really use that remote to communicate. Okay. So you're walking, Ollie goes ahead, tap, 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 tap. He comes here. You would relax. You would keep walking. He would pass. You would turn, tap, 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 tap. Here.
So keep tapping until he comes back?
Correct.
Okay.
As soon as he hits the spot, or as soon as you see him moving towards your leg,
Okay.
you'd want to take off the pressure.
Okay.
So the way the concept of pressure on and off is what makes the obedience reliable from the get-go. Okay. So nobody likes to be uncomfortable, right? We want to, when we feel uncomfortable, we want to either remove ourselves or figure out how do we get this to stop, right? So we're using that e-collar, which is a form of discomfort, to shape things.
Okay.
But we have to do it a very certain way, otherwise the dog won't get it. So the most common way is when the, people are trying to teach heel, that they'll yank the dog back or they'll press the button and they'll say no, like telling them bad to pull, right? And the dog will come here and they'll say heel. And it requires a dog to be able to attach, like just associate that this is a bad thing and this is where I want to be, and it's too complicated for a dog to figure out. Okay? So my process is very simple. I go, okay, Ollie, we're gonna walk, and you want to go that way, that's fine, but I'm gonna go this way now, and I'm going to annoy you until you can follow me. Okay? That's why the number is very important. If you're too low, you'll be doing this back and forth thing all day and make no progress.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's why we always want to find that working number first. Questions? Okay, so I'm gonna have you go and step over here. We're gonna give about 4 feet of slack and I'll be your eyes. Okay, so if I see any off leash dogs and stuff, I'll instruct you. That's good. And then you're gonna just completely relax. Okay, then you're gonna start moving forward. 180. Tap, tap, forward. Turn, tap, forward. And when you move, you want to make it a very quick, abrupt turn. Now he comes to your right, you're going to pull here to the top. Left, right, and tap simultaneously. That's fine. Now relax. Forward. Turn. Tap forward. Tap forward. Good. Forward. Good. Slow down. Turn. Tap forward. Tap forward. 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 Pull to your right. Tap. Tap. Tap forward. Good. Pull to your right. Tap. Tap. Relax. Forward. Forward. Good. Go to slow turn. Good. You want to pick up your speed? Tap forward. Tap. Tap. Going forward. Tap, tap, tap. Keep going forward. Go ahead and bump it to 42. slow down, turn, speed up, tap forward, tap, good. Speed up a bit, tap, tap, tap. You're at 42?
Yeah.
Let's go to 48. Speed forward, tap, 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 keep going forward, tap, tap. Pull to your right, tap, tap, forward, good, relax. Pull to your right, forward, tap, forward, tap, 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 forward. Slow turn. Forward, tap, forward, tap, tap, forward, forward, what now, 8? 4. Okay, keep forward, tap, 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 keep forward, tap. Pull to your right, tap, tap, good. Better. There we go, a little bit better. Good. Slow turn. Forward, tap, 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 tap. Right there, good. Now slow walk. Slower. Now stop. Use your leash, pull to your right, tap, tap. Tap. Up, tap, tap. Lightly pull up. Tap. Lightly, keep that tension up. Tap, 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 and relax. Good. You see what I was trying to make happen here?
Stay next to me.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So all the movements that you're doing are away from him. Okay. Every time you pass, you go away. But then there were times where I said, keep walking and tap.
Yeah.
You like it. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to teach Ollie is to close the gap.
Okay.
Okay. Most people tend to restrain the dog and keep them close and feed them or whatever there,
Right.
to thinking the dog will make that connection, and that's not the case. What you're trying to do is create separation and make the dog close that gap using pressure. Okay. And then right here at the end, I had you lightly pull up, just enough to guide, but the remote ultimately is what made Ollie put his butt down. Okay. Question so far?
No.
So the main thing to pick up from this is the slack and the 180 turns, okay? Now I know there's a lot you have to think about. You have to think about the dog, you have to think about your leash, you have to think about your remote, you also have to think about what I'm saying, right? But as you get used to it, it gets super simple, okay? The main thing that I want you to pull from today is when you walk from Ollie, this is the exercise that you're gonna be practicing all week, is that each day should be less and less turning, okay? That's how you know you're making progress, okay? When you have the space, you want to walk with him like this, okay, instead of the short leash. And of course, use your judgment. And then if you feel like if you're coming across a situation where like this doesn't look too good, use your better judgment. Move away from the situation across the street. You know, at least for this week, as I build you up. But if I have a nice open space like this, I give the slack, because if he's next to you, what does that tell you? He's responding, right? He's learning, like, this is the spot that I want to be, right next to mom on her right side, right? The reason for the tapping when he went over to your left was to eliminate that as an option. Okay, you're telling him not that side, this side, okay? So when it comes to the tension, think of tension as communication. It's telling him what he's supposed to be doing, okay? Whereas typically with people, it's tension restraining the dog. And then that creates more frustration, that creates more issues, okay? So if there were to be any tension when you're walking with Ollie like this now, what does that tell you?
I don't know.
So let's say you're walking with Ollie, right? Your leash should look like this.
Yeah.
Do you feel any tension right now?
No.
Okay, but he's right next to you. So if you're walking and then you start to feel tension.
Oh, they're using too far.
He's going too far, he's off to the side, he's lagging, right? So wherever the tension is pulling towards, it tells you what he's doing essentially, right? So you want to get used to feeling that leash and then using it as a guide of what he's doing, because there should not be any tension, okay? There shouldn't be any tension, and that means he's walking with you and paying attention, okay? Questions about that?
No.
Now as we start to move forward, I'm going to have you start moving a bit more quickly not so much rushing, but just like in are you a fast walker or a slow walker?
A slow walker.
You're a slow walker, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So it's funny because usually I'm telling people to slow down.
Yeah.
In your case, I'm
You're
just
like, no.
just slow up,
Yeah.
speed up, okay? The reason for that is I start to see him start lagging, and I'm wanting
Usually
to,
do that. Usually
yeah.
he's like way out ahead.
It's because of the collar,
Yeah.
okay? The collar is making them more cautious now. So now that we can start communicating with them, because earlier, like I saw you pop him on the leash and stuff,
Yeah.
but he still kept like focused.
Yeah.
So even though you gave him a good pop, it wasn't enough to break through the mindset.
Yeah.
E-collar allows us to break through the mindset. Okay, that's why I love it because it's so
Yeah.
easy
Yeah.
and it's less confrontational.
A long time ago.
The other thing is he's going to start showing more caution now because now we're matching him. Now we're breaking through that mindset and saying, hey, there's something that you need to pay attention to, and I'm trying to communicate with you. Okay. Now once he starts to understand this concept,
Yeah.
you should start to see him relax a bit more. But in the beginning, because it's going to be so much more disciplined because it's a totally new thing for both of you,
Yeah.
you're going to be using it a lot more often. Okay. And then that's how we structure everything. Okay. Questions about that? All right. So we're going to repeat the same exercise. You're at what number now? 54. We're gonna go down to like 48. Whenever we stop to like rest for a bit, I'll go down lower. I usually go down much lower, but since I can already see that in terms of the number, he's needing more power, I'm not gonna go that much. And then we're gonna work our way back up again.
Okay.
Because as you, like right now, Ollie was literally like kind of processing and deciphering everything that just happened right now.
Yeah.
That he's gonna be more sensitive to the collar communication. So then if you came off at 55 again, you might get a bigger response, even like, right? Because now he's really feeling it because now he's really paying attention.
Okay.
So I go down a little bit lower so I don't catch the dog off guard, and if needed, we just simply bump it up. Okay? Questions?
No.
Okay. We'll give it a little bit more slack, and I'm gonna have you go back on the path here.
Okay.
Pull your left, right, tap, 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 tap. Let's go back to the 55. Tap. Okay. Let's go to 62. Okay. And forward. Pull to your right. Tap. Tap. There you go. Relax. Forward and good. Going to speed up a bit. Tap. Tap. Pull to your right. Tap. Tap. Good. Slow turn. Your left. Move it. Yep. Forward. Tap. To your right. Tap. You got a bite coming to your left, by the way. Yep. Keep moving forward. Tap. Tap forward. Tap forward. Tap forward. Tap tap. Tap tap. Tap tap. Keep forward. 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 There it is. Good. Tap forward. Let's go to 68. Yep, keep going forward, tap. Light pull forward, tap. Pull your right, tap. Good. Slow turn to your left. Tap, 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 forward. Good. A little bit better. You're 68, right?
Yep.
Let's do 74.
Okay.
Forward, tap, pull to your right, tap, tap, tap. Right, keep going, tap, 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 keep going, tap, tap, keep going, tap, tap. There you go. Right, tap, keep going forward, tap, tap. Keep forward. 85. Forward, tap, tap. You got it, good. Pull your right, good. Forward, tap, tap, keep forward, keep forward, keep forward. There it is, looks better. Slow down. 85.
Yes.
Let's try tightening up that collar more.
Okay. Is that okay, or is that too tight?
That should be
My
fine.
fingers.
In the video, and you got a scooter. In the video, it'll help clarify things a bit. I'm gonna have you go down on that remote. Let's go back down to 40. Tap. 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 So we got connection. That's good. Up to 50. So when Ollie lags,
Yeah.
I want to think more assertive
Okay.
in terms of just moving. Okay? Because everybody does it. It's
Yeah.
when they feel the tension going back, they tend to slow down,
Okay.
or they tend to look at the dog, and you really just want to keep that movement. But you're trying to get Ollie to recognize just to come here. Okay? So when you start to slow down, you're actually reinforcing the pause that he's
Okay.
giving, and you're trying to push him forward. What I'm trying to get here is fix this.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's one thing to be here, but he's all the way back here.
Yeah.
This is super, super uncommon.
I know. I'm like shocked about it.
Yes, it's the pressure. Okay, and we're
Yeah.
trying to use the pressure to force him forward. So he's hanging back because he's like, I don't like this thing.
Yeah.
So we're making the thing that he doesn't like to put him in position.
Okay.
Once we crack that, things should be a lot easier.
Okay.
But being 85 to try to get a dog to speed up when they're not tired, like, doesn't really happen. Okay. So.
Good Ollie.
All right, so we're gonna try it again.
Okay.
Forward, tap, tap, tap. What do you got now? 58. Tap forward, good job. Tap forward. Go to slow turn there. Pull to your right, tap. Good, relax. Tap forward, tap forward. Let's go to 65. Tap forward, tap forward. Tap forward, tap forward, tap, tap, tap. Almost. Tap, 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 good. Good, slow turn. Right, pull to your right, tap, tap, tap. Tap, 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 pull to your right. Tap, tap, tap. Keep forward. Let's go to 72.
Sorry.
Forward. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Forward. Good. Go to slow turn. Okay. A little bit better. Pull to your right. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap.
I wonder if, okay, so he was trained on his left, but I like to walk him on the right.
I was wondering that because he keeps favoring the left.
Yeah.
You can untrain it, but you're going to be dealing with this.
Like usually when we're walking, he's fine with that, like on the right. But right now, like the last trainer is on the left.
Right, because we're using pressure.
Yeah.
How'd you say? He's going to what he knows for sure, because I can see it.
Yeah.
It's up to you. I don't care which side you train him on.
I just preferred the right only because like I felt like when I was walking on the sidewalk, like you're on that side of the street or like on the sidewalk and like people were away from him.
Right.
Then I didn't have to walk directly past
Correct.
him. So that's why I switched to.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's just you're probably gonna be dealing with a bit of that. Okay. We just have to find, the number.
Yeah.
That's gonna make him break that habit. Okay. I'm wondering if you walked him on your left, if he'd actually catch up to.
Do you want me to try the left?
Try it real quick just to see.
Sweet.
All right, and inches forward. It's a little better. Yep, go to speed up a little. Tap, tap. You're at what now?
72.
Let's go to 78. Tap, 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 tap. There we go. There we go. A little bit better. Tap, tap. Right, good. Go ahead and you're gonna make a turn to your right now.
Wait, right?
You're fine. You're good. Go ahead and cut over. Now go ahead and speed up a bit. Tap, tap. Down. You see how that's easier now? So go ahead and slow to stop. I personally don't care what you do.
Okay.
Okay? If you feel more comfortable having him on your right, we're just gonna have to untrain an old habit.
No, it's okay. I mean, we'll do the left.
We'll do that. Okay. So now everything's gonna change. Okay, it's just backwards.
Okay.
So
make right turns?
Correct.
Okay.
So the correctional turns are always gonna be sharp 180 turns to your immediate right.
Okay.
Okay? Always.
Okay.
So don't worry about turning other directions this week in terms of like perfectly. So before I was having you turn each time, do you know what were you paying attention to what I was having you do prior?
Slow down.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you got a bike coming on your side. Careful, buddy. Tap. Up. Tap. Good. I was having you slow down. Okay, slow before the stops, slow before the turns. Okay? You want distractions? Here you go.
Throw 'em in.
That's why we're here. So, this will be forever. Okay, so you drive.
Yeah.
What do you do before you stop?
Slow down.
Slow down.
I don't know.
Right, and then typically if you're going to turn, what do you do sometimes?
Slow down.
Slow down, right? If you're going really fast, you can't just turn, you flip your car. So same thing for the dog. You want to always slow down before you stop and before you turn, okay? This helps cue Ollie that something's changing. So for this week, if you have to make a left turn, she would be there. Just slow down, do it how you would normally do it, because there's an actual like specific leg movements that go with it to cue everything, okay? But for now, as long as you move slowly prior, if Ollie is paying attention, what should he do? Correct, right? So you're doing your job by conveying to him, hey, something's changing. If he's being mindful, he would slow down with you, and then he should be able to catch the turn, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. If he doesn't slow down with you and he passes, what would you do in response?
Tap.
And
Slow down.
not slow down.
Speed up.
Let's speed up.
Stop.
Let's stop. There's like one more option left.
Turn.
Turn.
Oh yeah, no.
Tap and turn, right? So if you slow down and he keeps going forward, you did your part. He was not paying attention. You would immediately 180 turn, tap, tap, line it back up again. If you need to go that specific direction, then you just simply turn again and then keep going in that direction, okay? If you're coming to a stop, a lot of people, since their intention is to stop, will slow down and the dog will keep going and they'll tug them back. Because they're like, well, I was gonna stop to cross the street anyways, right? But that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is in training, you have to make him perform it correctly. He has to stop with you, okay? So then you would turn, tap, tap, correct that, slow down, turn again, slow down, stop, he stops with you, you're perfect, okay? It's your responsibility to make sure that he's doing things correctly.
Yeah.
At no point don't you ever think like, oh, once I teach Ollie something, he should just do it, because that's not how dogs do. Okay? You know everything. You know what the expectations are and all that stuff. You always set the rules. You always reinforce them. Okay? The more you reinforce it, the less you'll have to reinforce it over time for sure. It becomes less work, but in the beginning, expect that you're gonna have to be doing a lot of this. Okay?
Yeah.
What's our number?
78.
78. Okay. 78 is fairly high.
Yeah.
So the reason for this is, I think I recommended 2 colors to you, correct?
Yeah, they're out of stock.
Yeah, they just discontinued it.
Oh, okay.
So on the other one, you would probably be 35, 40
Okay.
because it's more output.
Okay.
And it allows us to get more with less, essentially. Okay, so don't be concerned that it's higher. It's just, it is what it is. Okay. When you're working with him, that number may dip, or it may go up depending on the environment. Like I can tell by like right here, like how anxious he is with everything going on in the environment. To get him to settle with those nerves a bit more exposure. Okay. Is there anything that you avoid environment-wise with Ollie?
Right now, I don't
Everything,
know.
sure.
Yeah, just because I get so nervous, like it's so unpredictable sometimes. I just don't know how we can react, but yeah.
Okay, so throughout the program, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep you both for prevention and intervention. What we're doing right here is foundation and prevention. So the theory is if I have a really good solid heel with Ollie, bites and stuff like that should not matter. He's more worried about you because that contraction is real. And he goes, when I leave mom's side, that contraction is uncomfortable and it gets very firm. But whenever a bike passes, yeah, I don't like it, but nothing's ever been physically related to it. Does that make sense? So we're trying to override the environment through power and just what you're doing. Okay, and then we see what does this fix. In order to get Ollie over as much as we can, the anxiety stuff in terms of the environment is exposure. Okay. They talked about the muzzle training and stuff.
The what?
Muzzle training.
No.
So you can muzzle condition him. It's very simple. I would start that process now. I'll send you videos so you can watch. Pick up the muzzle.
I have one of these sometimes.
Okay. And I would just start targeting areas that you typically avoid. Okay. The reason why I would do that is the only way to know how you're progressing is to put yourself in those situations.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not saying do it right as soon as you get home.
Yeah, I feel like that's crucial. It's like knowing like what baby steps to take to start things like that.
The baby steps are for you, not the dog. Okay. And I don't care that you take smaller steps.
Yeah.
Everybody progresses at their own rate. But the muzzle will help you relax so much more. Okay. Because then you're like, if something happens, the risk of liability is super low.
Yeah.
And it'll take off that anxiety or stress of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would start, going out. Maybe you avoid certain times in your neighborhood because it's busy.
Yeah.
And then you start going out more towards those times, and you're like, oh wow, she's doing great. And then you start going to like the lakefront, and then you start coming out to like Oz Park, and you start going down Broadway and all that stuff, right? Where it's busier and busier. As you build your confidence.
Okay.
I'm also going to show you what to do when things go south. Okay, because you can make a ton of progress. You can have, 8 months of no reactivity, and then one day it happens. Okay, it's life.
Yeah.
Not every day is going to be perfect. Not every human is perfect. We have good days and bad days. What I'm wanting to create here is that you get more good days with Ollie than you get bad days. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and if shit happens, you have the tools to get it back under control. Okay. Questions so far?
No.
So we're going to do a bit more of this kind of back and forth run with on the left side now.
Okay.
Did he just whine?
Yeah.
Okay. How often does he do that?
A lot.
A lot? When does he do that?
When he's overstimulated like this, like in the car, someone new walks in the house, and like even my sister that lives there now, like she walks in, gets excited, and does that.
Sure.
When he's looking out the window and someone's outside.
Okay.
He was on trazodone for a little while, but I didn't like it.
Sure.
So I use it as like for long car rides, like we're gonna go on a road trip.
For sure.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The Zoom sessions that you have.
Yeah.
Think of those as for anything that you need to do inside the home.
Okay.
You can always, of course, let's say you use the 2 and you need another one. You can always turn one of your in-person ones into.
Okay.
So you have, because you did 12 classes, correct?
Yeah.
So you have up to 12 classes in person,
Okay.
plus 2 Zoom, right?
Okay.
So some people do a mixture where they'll do more Zoom because they need more stuff inside the home.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but you get up to 12 in person here.
Okay.
Just so you're aware.
Okay.
And then what we can do is set up one of those Zooms to start talking about how we correct the whining and stuff.
Okay.
To start tapping it. The whining is just an outlet of the anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the panting that we're getting here. We don't correct the panting.
Right, but
Lightly pull up here and tap, tap, tap. Keep your pressure up on the leash. Tap, tap, right there, and then relax. Good. We're gonna make this very strict, okay? And I'll talk about more. But I suggest that we set up a Zoom, and you don't have to wait a week. You can set up in between classes whenever you need it, so that we can start tackling the bigger outlets of the anxiety. Because so let's say like the whining. Someone will say like, well, the dog's just whining. I'm like, right, but the dog is practicing anxiety is what it is. It's a symptom of it. The more he practices that symptom, the more anxious the dog is.
Is it better to acknowledge when he's doing that or to not acknowledge it?
Acknowledge how?
Like, I don't know, to tell him to stop or relax or...
Right, so we wouldn't acknowledge it in that way. We would acknowledge it by correcting it. Right, so like another dog, so for example, I had brought an anxious dog home once to when I used to board out of my house. And it kept pacing, or she kept pacing around my living room. And I saw my pit just like walk over to her and just pause and was looking at her, and then timed it to where the dog came here and she snapped and bit that anxious dog. The dog yelped and then sat down, and my pit walked away, and then like 2 minutes later laid down and fell asleep. Okay, so what my pit did was walked over and said, cut the shit. There's nothing to be anxious here about. Okay, dogs don't accept unstable energy. Okay, humans, we're compassionate, we're empathetic, things like that, and we, we'll say like, hey, don't worry, tomorrow will be better, right? We have all these things to like work us through emotions. Dogs don't. Dogs just don't tolerate it. Okay, so like.
What's my dad's dog doesn't love that. It's like when I took over to my dad's house, he has a husky mix, and that dog like doesn't give a shit about anything. And like Ollie's like whining at every single thing. And
right, but you just. Right, but you just said that dog doesn't care about anything. Right, my pit, like my dogs are very stable. That they're like, because there's different hierarchies. There's like the low members, there's the middle members, and then there's the ranking members. The ones that kind of, I would say, establish the boundaries and the rules, right? So my pit is up there. So if I gave my pit to a very soft personality, she would be a terror. My pit's a great dog, but because I have her. But if somebody else had her that isn't incredible in the dog handling, she would not be a great, exactly. Okay. So here, when Ollie laid down, so when you come to a stop, his job right now is just to put his butt down. Okay, don't think of it as a sit. Okay. Because this is the difference between obedience and behavior mode. When people see this, they're like, oh, you told the dog to sit. And I go, no, I told the dog to relax. Right? So if you invite someone to the home, a lot of times you say, relax, right? Like, make yourself at home. What do? They usually have a seat. Okay? So think of it that way. Obedience is superficial, it's mechanical, it's a physical response. Behavior is mental responses. You see how he's kind of like shifting around and stuff? Yeah, I start to see him build a little bit. So when he went to lay down, it could have been just like, I'm tired. You could be emotionally tired, you could be just tired from the physicalness of all the exercise. But you did not tell him to sit down. So you reinforced the standard of put your butt down. Okay? I'm gonna have you remember this. Because it helps him keep himself in check. Okay, so if he starts to think, oh, I'm tired and I need to lay down, and you're like, nope, that's not the rule right now. It sounds bad, because the owner's like, well, the dog's tired. I'm like, I get it. But you want to start thinking like a dog does. So if he thinks, well, mom had me put my butt down, and then I decided I was too tired, and she let me lay down, he thinks he made a decision, and it's a minor thing. So then later on, when you're walking, let's just say that he can't decide to just lunge and become reactive, which is a bigger decision, right? So the little decisions lead up to bigger decisions. That's why you have to be super concrete and black and white when you use your obedience, because you're teaching your dog habits. Okay, if there are no exceptions, then he knows, okay, mom doesn't play, I keep myself in check, and as long as I do so, I don't have to worry about a thing. That's what you're trying to get across here. Okay? So, and like let's say you're walking with him and he stops to try to piddle, I keep walking and I remote him. Okay, and then I'll walk a little bit further, comes to a stop, break, and then let the dog feed. Okay, so I'm letting him do it, it's just on my terms.
So, should I give a command for that sort of situation?
Correct.
No?
So right now we're not going to worry about heel verbally, because I want you to worry about using that remote as much as possible. Okay. Typically in the past, when I've incorporated the word heel in the first lesson, I come back class 2 and the owner's saying heel all like 100 times and not using the remote. And I'm like, why are you not using the remote? They're like, oh, but I thought the dog would know the word heel. I'm like, no, we're just teaching it, right? Right? That heel means do the job, and the dog does it. That means they have an understanding or concept of it, right? Right now you're building that concept. So if I remove that word, you have no option but to use that remote. But we can use the word break, which is my release word. From previous training, does he have one from that? Free? You can use free, okay? So let's say you're walking with Ollie. His job is to to be here on your left side. I'm usually always good about it. So, and then you decide, for 30 minutes, you've done a great job. I want you to potty.
Yeah.
You would slow down first.
Yeah.
Give him a chance to slow down with you. Stop. He stops. You reinforce that sitting position.
Okay.
You wait a few seconds. Free. And then walk them onto the grass.
Okay.
Okay? Free means your job is done. Pee, poop, roll around, smoke a cigarette, I don't care.
Yeah.
You're off the clock, right?
Okay.
So think of obedience as putting them in and clocking them in to work, and then the break or free command as the clocking him out. Okay. Now, even though he's clocked out, doesn't mean he can be reactive or be whiny or be barky. You would still correct those things. Okay. Questions? So we're gonna do another run. We're gonna do. So now we're moving to the left. Okay. What number are we at now?
78.
78. Let's go to 72. Now, with that 78 earlier, did you see the difference from like when we were trying to do the right side?
Yeah.
How he kept lagging and kept going to the right? But now that we moved it back to the left and we did the 78, he actually caught up and his head was right next to your hip.
He was like checking it.
Yes. That's what I was trying to create, but on the opposite side.
Yeah, that's why it's so like, I don't know why. It's weird. It's just weird how a different side can do that.
Yeah. You know, dogs are very much creatures of habit.
Yeah.
So since you started making things serious through the remote, through power, you started thinking, well, what I know is this.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what you're trying to battle there. Okay? So he wasn't being disobedient, he was just he was actually being obedient. Just you guys switch sides on him. Okay? I'll have you go and turn to your right and then move that way. And forward, tap, 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 tap. Good. And relax and forward. Good. Good. Slow turn to your right. Good. Speed up a little bit. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Light pull forward. Tap, tap. Keep forward. Keep forward. You got it. There he is. Right there. Good. Like that. Perfect. Good. Keep forward. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Good. There you go. Good. Tap, 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 tap. Keep forward, keep forward, keep forward. Tap, tap. Good. Like that. Good. Forward, tap, 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 tap. Good. Slow turn. You're fine. Oh, no, I thought you were talking to the camera. Excuse me? Good. Forward. Now slow walk. But keep forward. Slower. And stop. Okay, and I'm gonna have you take maybe like half a foot of slack. I'm sorry, you have the slack that you did, but you're just shortening half a foot. Does that make sense?
Like more or less?
Like there. Good.
Here? Okay.
Yeah. See the difference now?
Yeah.
Right? So I think what's happening still is he's being still cautious, and with the tapping, eventually once you break him, he goes forward, and then he shoots to your leg. Okay? So since he already has that prior obedience, this is why it's not a problem, but I don't like working with dogs that have been previously trained, because they already have a concept, so I have to force things to happen. Whereas with a dog that's untrained, there's no forcing, it's just the dog making mistakes all over the place, right? So here, whenever he lags, you just want to keep that movement. And what I did to make more of what we have in terms of power is instead of going tap, tap, I'm going tap, 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 tap. So imagine it as being punched in the same spot, right? So as kids, like you keep doing that, it's like ow, like you cave in. It's the same thing with the remote collar. So I'm giving it a little bit more punch by going pop, 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 pop. So then he goes, oh, all right, and then he starts to move forward. Okay, but you can see where the brain is caving in, and then shooting to do the behavior to turn the pressure off. That's what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? And you may have to keep that kind of pattern for him as throughout the training, or he might become sensitive to it, and then you end up going to that tap tap original kind of rhythm that we're doing. There's no right or wrong with this. It's just what's going to work. There's some dogs where I have to go tap 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 before they give me the same response. Okay, So it's just what's going to work for that particular personality type. Okay. Questions?
This is like not related to what we were just doing, but should I not have the prong collar on him anymore?
No, you can use the prong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The prong, think of the prong as your immediate control in case something happens.
Okay.
So like you turn the corner, there's a stimulus that you become reactive to. Your prong would give you the immediate control.
Okay.
Whereas the e-collar would get him to shut down.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Now as you progress, you might find, I don't need the prong.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay.
It all depends on the dog.
Okay.
So far, I haven't seen anything, but doesn't mean nothing's ever gonna happen.
Oh yeah, like usually he's pretty good with people, but okay. But when he's like in a situation like this where it's like so many people, that's when he does the hologram. But if it's like a one-on-one thing,
sure, if he's flooded. Yeah. So imagine, like, let's say you're on the lakefront. Have you been down that trail?
I mean, when he was young, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that trail is like you come across an occasional biker and runner and stuff.
Yeah.
I would think that's where you're probably going to see moments. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something you'd want to build to, if not challenge yourself in trying to go there.
Okay.
And also, just so you're aware, before I forget, did I tell you about the pack walks we have here?
Yes.
Yeah. So that will start every Saturday at 8 a.m. on on Diversity at Inner Lakeshore.
Okay.
And we go by bikers and rollerbladers and all that stuff.
Okay.
And it's free. You're welcome to join. One of them, all of them, none of them.
But do you recommend doing that like now or waiting?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. If you're like you get it going forward and everything's great, you don't need it, then you're fine. But you're still always welcome to join. Okay. Other questions?
No.
Okay. Let's do a bit more.
Okay.
And what we're gonna do with our slack here, I'm gonna have you take it up until that you see where the loop is on the bottom, until it comes up to where his armpit is. Right. Yeah. Pick it up like there. We're good. Like that. The reason for doing that is because earlier he was stepping over the leash.
I know. Yeah.
And he was getting tangled. When you have it about the armpit height, you prevent that from happening, but you still get the slack.
Okay.
Yeah, you still get the slack. Okay. And forward. Slow turn to your right. That's fine. Nothing there. Forward. Good. And he catches up. Good. Go ahead and speed up a little bit more. Now slow. Slower. Stop. Good. Go ahead and take 3 steps.
Forward.
Yep. Good. Go ahead and take 1 big step. Good. Take 5 steps. Good. Go ahead and pivot to your right. Forward and stop. Good. That's the attention that we want.
Yeah.
Okay. And you create that attention simply by the turning around that you were doing. Okay. And having it at the appropriate number. That's why that number is so important.
Yeah.
And I don't worry about what the level is. The dog tells me what's correct.
Okay.
If it wasn't correct, if it was too high, he's yipping.
Yeah.
He's panicking. He's not knowing what to do. When it's too low, he's still lagging, and we're not seeing that rush to the left leg. Okay, so that's a big difference. So your homework for this week is this exercise.
Okay.
Whenever you take Ollie for a walk, I suggest starting with the potty break. Let him get his business out the way.
Yeah.
Then start the structure.
Okay.
What starts this is the tap. Okay, so if you walk out, he does his business, and you're like, okay, you're good. I just start walking, tap, tap, tap. He's at my left side, and then we just go for a walk. Okay. As long as Ollie is doing good and is in position, you do not need to turn. Okay, you only turn abruptly when he's not paying attention and forges ahead of you. Okay. If you need to turn and he's paying attention, be sure to slow down to cue him something's changing, and then do the turn that you need to. Okay. Don't worry about correcting a remoting if he doesn't perform it perfectly. Yep. If he doesn't perform it perfectly, because tap and lightly pull up, and tap, up, tap, tap, and relax. Good. because there's leg movements that cue everything. Okay, so I just need them to be able to follow you. Okay, like you're doing here, whenever you see something that's a potential reactive moment, I'm gonna have you step aside like you are and face the stimulus as you are. Okay, what you're also gonna do is you're gonna take your leash and you're gonna shorten it. Okay, I know. So stand behind them, right there. You're gonna take your leash and shorten it.
Oh, like this.
Like that, and then relax again. Okay, so what you're doing here, and stand like you were before, just like that. The other way, facing us. There you go, and a little bit in, like that. Good. The reason for this is if you look at your leash, it's short, but it's not tight.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want you to be going into this mode. If you go into this mode, you're going to be creating tension. You're feeding a potential reactive moment. Okay. By doing this, it gives you more control over the situation because it gives you a better view of Ollie. So if he's beside me, I can see everything. I can see the eyes, I can see the mouth, I can see the hackles, I can see the ears, I can see the posture, I can see the tail, right? So it gives you full visual. And then use your peripherals to see what's going on over here, okay? If you see someone, oh, you stepped aside from me, know we're training right now. Okay, don't worry about being nice, just know we're training right now, okay? 99% of people respect we're training and will leave you alone, go, okay, and go with their dog, okay? Some people don't. You might have to be a bit more curt than no, we're training right now, okay? But it allows you to watch your dog and see what's going on the outside, right? If you see the ears start perking up and you see small signs of, oh, I think this is gonna become something bigger, you would want a remote right there. Okay, so if his ears perk up and you tap him and they go back down and he settles, perfect. You've just capped him and you've told him that I'm not letting you go to the next step, okay? Now, if it's like a bike and it's the first one you've seen in 30 minutes, as it closes in, you might see something happen within this kind of window. Okay, that's normal. What we were wanting to see this week is how much have you closed that gap. Okay, so when you walk him, I want you to just, as best you can, keep tabs on any potential reactive context that you may have come across, and then think to yourself, man, he would have been reactive before, but he wasn't. Good, right? So if you saw 20 things, and 18 of them were perfect, but 2 of them were bad, I go, great, that's like 90%, 95%. Right. Then I'm like, what were the instances where you had problems? And you're like, they were both bicyclists. And I go, okay, bikes seem to be a problem still if those are the only 2 you saw during the week. Questions? I'll send you the information for the muzzle training. What kind of, does he have a basket or does he have a mesh muzzle?
No, it's actually just one that like goes around, like one.
Oh, is it like do you clip your leash to it?
No, it's not the head collar. It's I don't know. I used to have the mesh one, but it was too small, so then I got this one.
Okay. So the basket style allows them to pant, breathe, normally drink water and eat food as well. It's meant for extended wear. They're like 25, maybe $35 on Amazon. So we'll send you the brand, and then you can just size them to it. And then I've made muzzle training videos of my own, and then I've also have links to others that I send to people. And I would start that process as soon as you can, even with what you have right now.
Like when should I be using that though?
When?
All the time?
Like if you're gonna start pressing, like let's say going out to visitor spots.
Pushing it.
Yeah. You know, so it takes off that anxiety. Also, like with the socialization stuff, if you want to press that, it'll make whoever that's helping us feel better.
Okay, so that was one thing I always talked about. Like, I want him to meet my neighbor's dogs. They're always running around in the yard. We have like a shared yard back there. So is that how you think I should do it? Like, have the knee collar on him, have a muzzle on him?
If we can, if you either have a friend or your neighbor's dog that can help us, I'll show you how I go about introducing and integrating dogs together, and then you repeat it. The muzzle, yes, helps reduce just the worry of is he going to bite the neighbor's dog, and if things go south, which can happen, you're able to correct the problem, but keep repeating it and not have risk of anybody getting hurt. Okay. It'd be nice if everything was perfect, but if that was the case, I would do the job. So sometimes it goes really well, other times it goes not so well, and then we recover from it. Sometimes it just goes not so well, and the owners decide, you know what, it's too much of a liability, we don't want to do it. I go, no big deal, that's perfectly fine. Okay. Questions? So when you get home, if you have a chance, you can review the videos I sent you to help clarify things a bit more today. Your homework, before you start your walks, let them go business. Find that working number first. It might go lower, you know, just you're looking for that movement, okay?
Yeah.
When you have space, give the slack. If you don't have space, you can shorten it like you would before.
Yeah.
Okay, be precautious, step aside, things like that, okay? And then we'll just build off of this.
Okay.
Anything else? Good. Right. If you need anything, you let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you in a week.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
You're welcome.
Thank you.